my channel. I'm sorry I haven't really made like an actual like vlog type of video lately, but I decided to post this video finally that I haven't really posted the whole thing. So last December I went to California. While there we went for a concert, but while there we decided to go to Queen Mary, which was it's a ghost ship. It's very well known. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about it. It's kind of like the Titanic in a way. A lot of people have died there and still continue to die there, but I never posted the whole tour, so this time I am gonna be posting the whole tour and I hope you guys enjoy it.
The desk agents, every once in a while, late at night, have heard this piano playing. They lean over the counter to tell the person to stop. The cover is usually closed, the bench is tucked in. There's nobody sitting here. This piano, and all the pianos we have about a dozen of them on the ship. All of them are home to one of our most widely seen spirits, dubbed the Lady in White. The Lady in White appears in any room where music was heard, and that's practically all of our major ballrooms. Every one of them had a piano in it. She's usually seen dancing alone. We don't know who she is exactly. B226 was a third-class stateroom, a very small third-class stateroom. Here in the forward end of the ship, the rooms are tiny. It had a bed, a bunk, a sink, a chair, and that's it. Out of the way. It's all the way here at the forward end. 1966, a young woman, Miss W.T. Berry. She woke in the middle of the night feeling a tug on her covers. She sat up to see the figure of a man looming at the foot of the bed. She screamed in terror. The night steward came running and tried to assure Miss Berry that at no time throughout the night had anyone entered or left the room. The steward found just the young woman in the room. That's it. Never saw anyone leave. Here in Long Beach, we used the room a little bit, but not much. It was our payroll office for a while. Payroll officer came in one morning, set down a stack of papers in her coffee cup, started going through it for the day, until the paper suddenly started flying around the room like a sudden gust of wind had picked them up. The coffee cup rattled on the desk before it flew across the room and shattered on the wall. Payroll officer doesn't work here anymore. One of the 10 a year, I guess. And so we stopped using the room entirely. In fact, room B226 no longer exists because we knocked out the walls between 226, 224, and 222. All three of those rooms became one larger room we now call room B340. B340 contains the most haunted space for the guests. And for many years, it was just us tour guides taking groups into that room. It was a vacant room stripped down to the bare walls and subfloor. On one of my tours about a year ago, we went into that room, took one step in, a lady in the front of the group said, nope, came right back out into the hall, waited all by herself while we were inside. I asked her why, and she said, the screaming is too loud in there for me. So what happened in room B340 to make it the most haunted room on the ship? We don't really know. We are not a hospital, we're a vehicle. If something happened on board, a very small entry was made in the ship's log, and that's it. All we know is in 1949, a man was found dead in that room. The cause, his name, it's all been lost to history. One of our earliest guests that stayed in that room, when we reopened it to the public, called the front desk at about 2 o'clock in the morning, saying, we get it, it's the haunted room, knock it off, we're trying to sleep. But we don't know what you're talking about. This is the special effects. The lights are turning on and off by themselves. The faucet's been running all night, even if we turn it off. We tried to assure them we don't have special effects in the room.
That creep though.
They don't give me special effects on my tour. Come on in. Mr. Sinclair has traveled the world and he's collected artifacts on his travels, and they're in the cases you see around us here. There's a razor blade right here that is purported to belong to one of the men thought to be Jack the Ripper. There's a desk bell and a hotel logbook right here from the Stanley Hotel in Estes, Colorado. The Stanley was the inspiration for The Shining. Over here in this case on the top shelf is a pair of binoculars that, had they been where they were supposed to be, the Titanic might have seen the iceberg a little bit sooner. But the officer who owned those binoculars was relieved of his duty before the maiden voyage and took his binoculars with him. We have them. But my favorite item in this room is in that case. The lower shelf, the wooden box with the little doll watching us. It's a very sad story around that little doll. She belonged to a girl in Cheyenne, Wyoming, around the turn of the century, late 18, early 1900s. This little girl and her mother lived in the apartments above the Atlas Theater. And this little girl was said to be clumsy. That was 1800s code for child abuse. Bruises and scars all over her. The mother was not a very pleasant woman. She overheard her daughter say to this little doll, "I love you more than anything in the world." This made the mother very upset, and so she had a carpenter construct a case around the doll and said, "You will never lay a finger on her again." I told you the woman was not very pleasant. The little girl unfortunately died a short time later. Clumsy. The mother died a week later. She fell down a flight of stairs. At the top of the stairs is another item from that case. Top shelf, all the way over to the left in the small glass dome. It's an arm, a doll's arm. That doll's arm. It was found at the top of the stairs. Did the woman step on it and slip and fall? Was she pushed? Don't know. But if you've seen the original Twilight Zone, the episode called Talking Tina was written about this little doll. And she's currently watching us. Hi, darling. She doesn't always. Sometimes we come in here, she is seated in the case, and you have to walk right up to the grate and look in to see her. I've never seen her move, but I've seen her seated, and I've seen her standing.
While there, we went to like the engine room, I think that's what it's called, where a younger gentleman supposedly died there between the doors. And we did film a video, which I was gonna post it in my first video that I did post, but then I realized that the video kind of changed while I was editing. I don't really know why, but there was a part in the video where you can hear a sound go off. It kind of sounds like metal clanking together, but we just thought it was just like, you know, the ship just making noises because it's kind of old. But then we went back on the video that we filmed while we were talking down there, kind of like doing like a ghost talking kind of thing, like how they do in Ghost Adventures and all that. But anyways, we went back and we saw that we were looking at the video a lot, and we realized that when that sound goes off, there's like one of the lights in the engine room turns off, kind of like flickers. But then every time I went back and looked at the video, you could see that clearly. But while I was editing the video and actually putting the clips in, I would press play and I could still see it. But for some reason, after a couple of, like when I was about to get the video done and send it off and, you know, post it, for some reason I played it because you know just to check that the video looks good or whatever, and it just wasn't, the light wasn't flickering anymore, and I thought that was so weird. Like, but I still have a couple of pictures that I will post, but you can kind of see like the people say that there's like ghosts that you see. That's why they always tell you take a lot of pictures because there's bound to be a ghost that pops up in your pictures. And so we did that in a couple of places. One of the places we did do that was the staircase that leads to the ballroom. And this staircase, it kind of looks like a soldier to me, which I thought it was really cool. In this ship, there's also like a really long hallway that stretches from one end of the ship to the other end. And so when we were, you know, when the tour finishes, they let you walk around and like explore by yourself. And we were trying to look for a room. I think it's like the most haunted room that you can actually stay in. Well, we were trying to look for that and we could not find it. Like, we were going back and forth on the same floor that we were just at, because that was like one of the last things that we saw on the tour, and we kept trying to find it. And I'm usually really good with directions, so I was like, okay, I don't know why I can't find it. But on the way there to find it, we were walking around a lot. There was a gentleman that walked by us. He was dressed in like really old clothing, like what you would see in the Titanic kind of clothing, and he just kind of went like that, like he nodded towards us when we walked by. And I didn't think about it at the time because they say that there's people that come to the ship to throw parties and stuff like that, but I didn't really see that many people, to be honest, and I didn't see anybody having a party in the room that they supposedly have a party in. So I was really confused why we saw that. But they also say that people see a lot of things like that while walking the ships. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and so I'll see you guys